This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hey friends, welcome to this week's pod, the show for the week of May 20th, 2024, and it's not May 20th, so we're going to restart that.
Didn't change it
there. I just saw that, but nope.
Nope.
Hi friends, welcome to this week's pod, this is a show for the week of May 27th, 2024. Happy Memorial Day to everybody in the U.S. So this is what's going on in our districts. We got a lot of stuff we're going to cover today. Actually, no, there's not much we're going to cover today. We're going to have one big fat show about ranking Disney resorts. But first, a little bit of housekeeping before we get into that. I want to remind everybody about our social media. It's all at the DBC Pod on X, Insta, Facebook, our YouTube channel, and of course our Discord server, which we have a new member at which we screwed up last week, Phil, because we probably should announce this person last week.
Yes.
But we did not. So welcome, BSK. I'm gonna go with BSK Lennar as the answer. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it, but thanks
if
for
we're
joining.
saying your username out loud improperly, please let us know.
Yes, or
spell it phonetically or something.
We'll make it work for you. But yeah, welcome. This person immediately started talking about whatever, just kind of jumping in there a little bit. So please stay and have some fun. But Phil, last week I was doing a lot of traveling, driving around. Our friend Matt rebranded his podcast. He is now joined by a new host. So it's now Diz Happenings rather than Disney Ever. Disney Happily Ever. It was
Happily Everything Disney.
Yes, I always.
So Diz Happenings is clearly a lot easier.
Yes, yes, it was my fault, but I always got my brain got twisted around there. But the new show is kind of like a normal rapid fire format. Some great insights. His new host, and Phil, do you have his Twitter handle handy? Because that's where
I know Sean ranks the mouse.
Okay, so Sean ranks the mouse. Awesome guy. He's from the West Coast. He has more Disneyland leanings, but he still goes to Disney World quite a bit, kind of the opposite of Matt. So it's a nice dueling perspectives on East Coast, West Coast, and a lot of things that they're talking about. I don't know. I should have asked Matt before I even mentioned his podcast. I don't know if it's like a weekly thing or a bi-weekly thing. I
think he said for now they're sticking with bi-weekly, but if they do trip reports, they might put them out every week or something like that. But yeah, similar to their previous cadence.
Yep. Okay. So keep an eye out for that same feed. So hopefully you didn't delete or unsubscribe because it's popping up just right where it was beforehand. But as I'm listening to some other Disney podcasts, because if you remember a couple weeks ago, we had listed what kind of podcasts do you guys listen to out there? Because the ones that I listen to have slowly dwindled down to either I don't like them anymore, or they stopped producing them, that sort of thing. So I was thinking about just listening to music, just staring at the road. And I'm like, what kind of, because we were talking about, will you go down and see Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Would you plan a trip about seeing this one attraction? And we generally say no. We can usually wait until our trip to go down there. So I was thinking, what would it take for me to pack up the kids or go down, or Phil, do you have an extra $500 laying around? Let's go to Florida now because I need to see this. What would it take to book a vacation earlier than expected? Right, maybe you're steering your standard every year vacation for this. Maybe you're going early. Maybe it's extra. But what's the threshold? I'm not just saying, hey, it's because we're going to talk about Fantasy Springs later with our engagement. But Phil, what would it take you from an actual metric that makes you want to I can't wait another year before I have to go right now for this opening?
Yeah, so my first thought when I saw you write this in the show notes was it doesn't take much.
And you need anything can be an excuse.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And I think it's because we didn't really have a trip planned for this year, and then we saw the ticket deal came out and the Tianas and stuff, and it was let's just figure out a way to work. But in reality, the last one I can remember, and so this is probably the scale where it would really take for us to like, we weren't planning on doing a trip. And like, to your point, I can't wait another year. I need to get there sooner.
Yep.
Was when they opened Galaxy's Edge.
Okay. Yep.
When they announced those dates, and I think specifically when they said Rise of the Resistance, that date was going to open, I was like, we got to figure out a way to get down there. Like, I can't wait another year to see it. So probably something of that scale.
Well, let's break it down, right? Because now, is it you have to go down because it's Star Wars and you're a big Star Wars nerd like I am, so you have to go see the new Star Wars stuff? Is it Star Wars? Is it because it didn't have 2 attractions at the time. It only opened up with 1. But like, is it a number of attractions or is it a theme?
I think it was the theme and the scale. Like, if they were just opening an attraction in the middle of a land that was Star Wars, that wouldn't get me. But the fact that it was this 14-acre super immersive land and was having these 2 amazing attractions, because I was waiting until the second attraction opened, like, that was like, I can't wait a year to see this whole thing. So I think it's the kind of that combination of an IP I'm interested in, but also the scale and the quality that it seemed to.
Okay, so it's basically the whole package: big land, multiple rides, super themed, right? That whole type of thing. So let's break it down to try to get again into your motivations. Let's say instead of Star Wars, it was again. Let's Fantasy Springs. It was like a Fantasy Springs, New Fantasyland type of thing.
Yeah,
but like, it's basically whatever Tokyo put in. It would Fantasy Springs be something that brings you there?
I think
without the hotel. Without the hotel.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't think New Fantasyland, like thinking back to it, I didn't see that. I was like, oh my God, I have to go down to see that. Okay. I do think Fantasy Springs looks to be kind of like that next level of immersion and quality, where that, if I knew that was opening, I don't know if I could wait another year to go see that. So maybe it's quality. And then kind of like that is more than anything.
Because the way I think about it is like, Guardians didn't get me saying I knew I was going anyway, so I'll be able to see Guardians. Tiana's is not making me want to book. I mean, like, would I love to go down? I might find an excuse to go down there, like, I have a job for work that I need to go down there to go, and I'll stop. But like, I'm not planning a vacation. If I don't go, I can wait till next May when we're thinking about going. But if you escalate, if Tiana's opened up with like half of phase 1 of Beyond Big Thunder, where it was like Tiana's, Big Thunder Mountain, and like another ride that was kind of like whatever theming that we're going to put together, I would definitely go for like a weekend type of thing, because to me that's kind of major. I might even would consider going Tiana's if they kind of redid half of Frontierland for that as well. Well, let me ask you this. So we're talking about additions. What about subtractions? So let's say Tiana's, they were announcing that Tiana's was coming back a year and, was it 4 months ago or whatever it was when it closed down, Splash closed down. They were saying Frontierland is going to be completely done to, New Orleans Square. So there'll never be Frontierland again. Would a loss of something make you go down, plan a trip?
I think it would depend on the thing.
Well, let's use Frontierland.
Yeah, I don't know if Frontierland would be enough for me to go down.
What if it's Spaceship Earth? It's closing down for good.
For good, yeah, that probably would get me down.
Okay, I'm just trying to see what level of
I think when
money's burning a hole in your pocket.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about closing down, it's probably more that nostalgia that kicks in. While I do have plenty of memories, especially of going with my dad and stuff of Frontierland and how much he liked that area, I don't know. It's probably have to be something Epcot related, like if they're shutting down Epcot or something like that. I would have to go.
Okay, so we basically, and I'm kind of agreeing with you. This is boring, but like, it has to be brand new immersive land, right? Well themed. I don't think New Fantasyland counts. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge counts, and what I expect the new Animal Kingdom edition.
I was just going to ask you, like,
is
Tropical America is going to be enough to get you to go down?
It would give me an excuse to start thinking like maybe we could do a down and back type of thing. Like that would spark.
Like if you had a family trip planned and you just missed the opening of that by a month, would that get you to like maybe delay your trip, or
if it's a month, I would delay my trip
100%.
I would, because that's too easy to delay 30 days. Because now we're beyond, we want to go down during Christmas time. Now it's like, we're going to find a convenient time during the year. So if like, let's say for whatever reason, Tropical Americas started construction tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
It got cut off, the breaking earth, and they were able to somehow construct 2 rides and be ready for, let's say, June or July next year. And if I was planning to go in May, I would push my May trip next year. However, I would be planning a trip around going down there because it's that far out in advance, though, too. Because that would be a target.
I mean, that's the other thing I thought of when I saw you post this was like anything of that scale, I feel like we're going to have enough notice of. And that's why I used the Galaxy's Edge thing, because that was something where we didn't know the exact date of that was going to open. And we had our like normal August trip. And then I was like, I got to figure out some other time. And that's why we went down the following February.
Well, my only thinking is because the reason why I ask this, because of Tiana's, it was basically end of 2024. Then it was summer of 2024. And then it was finally, was it June 28th, 27th?
The 28th is the official.
Yeah. And so we didn't know. And we didn't know any of that until a month ago. So you couldn't plan a trip around TBA at all. And I suspect that, D23, we're going to find out a bunch of different stuff, right? So Tropical America is coming 2026. They'll have a pin, like how they do the timelines and stuff. It'll say 2026 on it, or probably 2026,
something like that,
or early 2027, or something like that. But you're not planning a trip around early 2027 because you're only going for 5 or 6 days. You better be darn sure that you're going the day that you're going to get what you want to go to see. So typically, we plan our trips a year out, or at least have an idea of when we're going to go. So as we get closer, it's going to be like the moment where the date is released might not be exact. It might be May of 2026, and now it's August of 25, and we're like, okay, it's coming in a year, but we don't know when, and that we might not know when until Memorial Day if it's opening summer of 20. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we could book our trip, or we'll have floating reservations, and then we select one and cancel the other ones type of thing. So that's the reason why I ask, because I don't think properly to plan a real trip around that versus like, we're definitely going, but we're definitely doing it down and back again. We're going to remain flexible for all those dates type of things, which is not really planning. But the other side of this is, as I was typing this out, because I was, again, thinking about what can trigger trips or rearrange trips, is for me, this was a tough one. I don't even know if I still have an answer, but I wanted to ask you, and you might not have an answer because you're not a big hotel guy. You're going down for the parks and the experience, and the hotel is like, if it's affordable, great, we're going to add that, experience. So is it possible for a new kind of hotel that would get you to book, or at least book an additional trip down there just to check it out? And I'm not talking like, there's a Star Cruiser experience. I'm talking like an actual hotel type of thing.
Yeah.
Is there something that would make you want to go check that out beyond your vacation?
I saw this as well, and I couldn't really think of anything beyond something like Star Cruiser or something like that, something like super themed where like the hotel is almost the destination. I can't think of any, there could be certainly a hotel theme that's coming that would make me want to book that when I have my next trip, but I can't think of one that would get me to like book another trip or book sooner because I really want to get to that hotel that's just opening or something like that. I think if I had DVC points or something like that, maybe it'd be a little different where like I really want to like check out the new Poly DVC or something like that, where it's like kind of, but as for paying for cash, anything like that is going to be out of my price range. So it's like not realistic anyway.
Yep.
So I can't think of really anything that would get built that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to make a trip around staying at this resort.
So what I was thinking about is like there's no hotel that's going to open that would make me redo my trip, only because I don't see them making value or moderate resorts anytime soon.
Yeah.
So to be deluxe, can't afford deluxe with a family of 5 reasonably. That I'd much rather take that money and,
especially if you're talking extra trip, right? So it's like you have to find that much money extra on top.
Well,
of
I mean, like I wouldn't even shift my trip like 30 days in either direction to accommodate like a new hotel type of thing. However, if they were doing some kind of big development scheme, let's say they're building 2 new hotels, and all of a sudden Bay Lake is like now just not Fort Wilderness and Bay Lake Tower, or Wilderness Lodge kind of thrown in there in the scape of things, but they started really kind of putting stuff out there. I don't know. I'd be really tempted, especially if there was like another park offering like a new nighttime show or something like 10 that would definitely not get you down, but like Oh, like let's say Luminous, right? Like if I didn't see Luminous last year, I'm not pushing to go see Luminous until my next trip anyway, right? But if you say, okay, Luminous debuted, and these new like 2 new brand hotels, like basically transforming the landscape around that Bay Lake. I don't know. That seems like a cool little like weekend. You go see some fireworks and drive around the hotels and see how the grounds look, that type of thing. I think that might get me. Like I like big transformative kind of projects that change the landscape of the property versus kind of like just a show or one ride or something else like that. So that's kind of where I was kind of going with those questions.
Okay.
So did you? I know you have here mysteriously put in.
Yeah. So Jason, I have a question for you. And that question is: do you have dreams that soar?
Dreams that soar. I don't know. That might be nightmares. Me soaring through the air from a catapult. I don't know.
That was my awkward transition to talking about Dreams That Soar, the new drone show that's at Disney Springs.
Well done. Okay. Good. Good.
So obviously that premiered. Did you watch video of the show yet?
By the way, I totally forgot that's what it was called. I had no idea where you were going. Like Dreams That Soar. What did I miss? I didn't watch the full videos. I skipped around, and it kind of showed the same show elements that you saw in that preview thing that they put out there. So I watched that whole thing. I was mostly looking at the crowds and stuff like that, but I thought it looked awesome. Yeah,
I thought it looked really great, and just thinking about that and planning for our trip, I definitely, I was interested to see how it's going to be. Was this going to be sort of a must do for our upcoming trip? And I definitely think it is going to be, and we're trying to plan which day we go and stuff like that. And generally the reviews I've been seeing is that it's definitely worth seeing. It's not worth, trading out, say, seeing Happily Ever After and going to see this. But like, if you're going to be at Disney Springs anyway, or maybe after your Animal Kingdom day, it seems like it's worth kind of taking some time out of your trip to go see it. And obviously if you're a local or you're going to be at Disney Springs anyway, it seems like it's worth it. And I'm loving how I'm seeing a lot of the restaurants down there, like Wine Bar George is advertising, like stop in and get a drink to bring with you to go to like the viewing area and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be really fun. I love all the different representations of IP in there. I love that it's just kind of simple. It's like, here's IP you love with the actual like narration and songs from that movie, not like new versions and stuff. They have some really odd characters in there. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Morph from Treasure Planet in anything, and it's in there. Like, it's kind of cool. So we're definitely going. And I guess that was kind of my question was going to be, is like, do you think, I know your trip's like a year away from now, but if you were going this summer, would you kind of figure out how to fit in a trip to Disney Springs to see the show based on what you've seen so far?
100%. I would totally do this. Our last trip had it Disney Springs Day, right? We wanted to go see all the Christmas trees. We did that a year prior to that too, doing like the Christmas tree hunt and strolls type of thing. But my wife and I were talking like, we don't want to go to Disney Springs again, right? Because it's crowded, it gets late, and Disney Springs, if we're going in May, like now time frame, it is hot until like 9:30 at night, right? Like it's not fun to be out there. And we've got little kids, so we're not hitting up some of the better restaurants and stuff like that. But see a cool new drone show. Maybe we don't go at 4:00. We go over at like 6 or 7 to kind of grab a drink and maybe, I don't know, some cupcakes or chocolate or something, and then kind of stroll around and then wait for that show. I know our friend Matt's like, I don't miss a nighttime spectacular. He's also the only person I know that actually calls them nighttime spectaculars in normal vernacular. So I got to give him credit for that. I actually like that he says that. I could never do that. But he's planning on doing a Disney Springs day, and he almost never goes to Disney Springs.
Yep.
So I think this is drawing people in, and I think what people need to think about, like what this show ends right in like September. It's like only for the
I think September 2nd. Yeah.
So like,
or at least that's when it's announced for, they could always extend it or do something else, but yeah.
So I think Disney's testing this out. And does Disney own these drones, or are they hiring another company to put on this show? You know what? I'm not sure. I know for the last time they did it, they were very adamant that they were like talking about the company that owned them and they were just borrowing them or something. They haven't really said that, other than that, I think they said this is presented by AT&T. But I think they own them because they haven't mentioned not owning them. Right. And I think that might be an important aspect. Like, I don't know. We don't know anything, right?
Yeah.
This just popped in my head whether they own them or not. Because I'm thinking like, it ends in September, and you could totally see Disney saying, okay, this brought a ton of people to Disney Springs. It made all of our tenants on that property like love us for all the extra business, right? It's generating a lot more revenue, all this other type. Well, I don't think Disney gets revenue from more people at Disney Springs.
No, but it helps them increase rent or whatever.
Right, exactly. And so that's always good. And then I think that if you do this, it's like, oh, people really love drones. So maybe they do shows at Epcot or some other parks like they do elsewhere, because people show interest in it. If it drives attendance, it might be something to keep in their back pocket. So I hope they continue to do this, because I love the idea of just random stuff happening on property in different places that are like fun things for you to do that don't cost your family $150 to get to a park to kind of see some fun stuff. So the more things, like more entertainment that Disney offers, I think the better. And I think Disney would be really smart if they opened up some area like at the Polynesian or the Grand Floridian, or just a space somewhere at the TTC where you can watch the electrical parade and stuff like that, where you could drive in, easily see it without trying to like fake your way into a hotel or parking and stuff like that. And just offer more stuff on property where people can gather to like view these things. I think that just adds you hear reports about hotels being emptier than usual and all this other stuff. People say it's drastic. Some people say it's like it's going from 95% occupancy down to 89, which is like industry standard, but not Disney standard. Right? So in the loss of like perks for because now people are like, there's more people staying off property or finding other accommodations because of cost. And if Disney can add in the perks of staying on property, like obviously Disney Springs doesn't have anything to do with it, but like if they start adding more entertainment like that elsewhere, which allows staying on property, because that's where my brain goes. It's like, yeah, Disney Springs is great. It's free, but it also, I have to bring my family to a crowded mall where people are out eating and drinking, and it's not really conducive to what will be a 12, 10, and 7-year-old at like 9:30 at night or 10 o'clock at night. Because the summer, when's the showtime for this? Is it at 9?
Yeah, so that's one thing about them. They're at 9 and 10:45. There's 2 showings a night.
Yeah.
And I do kind of wish one was a little earlier, because that's one thing I'm wondering about. Like, we might do this for our off day, which is right before our Magic Kingdom day. And
it's rough.
Even the 9 o'clock one, by the time you get back to the resort and stuff like that. But it's playing in the summer. It's probably not dark until about 9. I think I looked it up, and Twilight ends about 8:15 or something like that. So maybe they could move it a little earlier, but you really can't go much earlier. Yeah. No. So I guess it is what it is. But and that does make me wonder about patterns and stuff like that, because I can't imagine there's going to be that many people there on like a Tuesday night watching the 10:45 show. So it'll be interesting to see how the crowds develop, which ones are popular, which ones aren't, and kind of and maybe do they make adjustments and stuff.
Well, I mean, that's my only thing is, you're out at Disney Springs let's say you go for the 9 o'clock viewing. It's what, I forget the length of the show. It's like 20, 25 minutes, right? It's not super long. But let's say it just ends at 9:30. It's a half-hour show. To get to your bus and then get on the bus and back to your hotel, if assuming boat services to the specific hotels is not up and going, you're probably in bed with your kids, assuming they go right to bed by like 10:30 or so, I would imagine, at the earliest. Usually about an hour after the show's done. If you book it to the bus and you time it and the bus is there, it's waiting, you get on, you go. It could be like almost 45 minutes to an hour before you're in your room. It's now 10:30. Kids are asleep by 11, and you got to wake up at 7 a.m. to do your lightning lanes and EQs and your rope dropping or whatever. You're not getting a lot of sleep. So I think that's another component of all these things you have to consider. But
and then the other thing I was going to mention, we haven't done DVC recommends in a while and stuff like that, but I know we mentioned last time, and it is one thing that is getting a lot of discussion, is around all the changes and updates to the DAS system on Walt Disney World, and a lot of people are reporting that how they're getting denied for it when having it in the past. I just thought I'd highlight. I thought Disney Tourist Blog did a really good article that came out today where they tried to have they gathered a lot of feedback. They've looked at the different options, and it came out like a very balanced report. It's not being super sensationalized, but it is certainly recognizing shortcomings that are coming from this and the challenges some people are having. So, if you're kind of looking for something that's maybe trying to look at both sides of things, but also recognizing realities, I thought this was a really good article about it. And it definitely highlights one of the big things that was saddened to see was that I was hoping they were going to have more formal, different accommodations, and they don't seem to be doing that. It's kind of like, well, you don't qualify for DAS, but you could go talk to a cast member at each attraction and explain your situation, and maybe they can do something for you. It's like, that's not really satisfaction, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like the problem for that is anybody that actually needs accommodations for maybe they don't need DAS as like a return to line or a wait in line, like a virtual queue type of environment, but like some people have some disabilities that require certain things, and planning for that, the being unsure of it is tough, right? You want to like, this is what I have to do. This is what I setting proper expectations. But I think from an operational and corporate point of view, if you can keep people guessing, it's going to drastically lower abuse. Because if the people that are abusers that have no right to any extra accommodations, and they're just not very good people that are taking advantage of this, if they know how it works, then they know how to plan for abuse and find min and max everything that goes around it to find out the best optimal use of this thing. Because I'm going to say my son has ADHD and I'm going to get on all these extra rides. No problem, right? So the flip side of not knowing what's going on, if you can build into those expectations, because again, you or I don't have could be surprised about how things are operating in the parks that day. I mean, it's accommodations that everybody there's some built-in uncertainty when you go to Disney World. If there's the people that require accommodations that aren't getting them right off the bat, if it's hopefully it's okay for them to live through the unknown, and once they get there, they find that all the cast members are very nice, they're pleasant, they're accommodating. Because obviously, if somebody comes up and they're in a wheelchair or they have a heart condition or whatever it might be, they can obviously have the power to help the people, which I think is great. Because I was worried that you could have cast members that want to help people, but management's like, no, it needs to be this. You're not able to determine people's accommodations, whatever. We don't want to get, but it seems like they're allowing them to kind of.
That's true. I guess that's a positive take on it, and maybe we just need to see it executed and actually happen in the park. Give it some time and see how it is. I could certainly understand the people that are going through it feeling nervous, and uncertainty is like definitely not helping them, I'm sure. But I do think it's probably something we need to see play out. And as it goes, maybe Disney will make some more adjustments and stuff will get a little bit more known, and just so people know like how to handle it, what to expect and whatnot. But I was hoping it'd be a little bit more formal, but to your point, maybe it needs to have that flexibility, and we'll see it play out and things will work out.
Yeah. My only thing is, and I know Tom Bricker mentioned this in his article somewhere as I was glancing through it. It's very hard to filter through stories that are coming through right now. These could be completely troll and made up stories, or it could be somebody that didn't get the accommodation that they wanted, but used to get it, but they truly don't really need it. And then they're very angry. So they're posting a lot of negative comments about the system. And typically when people have good experiences, but not great experience, but just like, it was helpful and I had an amazing time, but they don't remember just the simple little things that allowed them to happen. They'll post they had a great trip, but they're not posting detailed ways of how they got a simple accommodation. So the positive stories that are just kind of ordinary aren't being posted or showcased or elevated through the noise. So, the internet is a very loud machine of people that complain and clickbait things. So take everything with a grain of salt.
And that's why I think I like this article it seemed to be not going for the clickbait. It actually highlighted some of those positive stories, but also recognizing that there are some real negative experiences that people have had, and people who probably should get DAS now not getting it and that sort of thing. But we don't know if those, to your point, those are the ones that get highlighted. Is that 90% of the people, or is it 0.9% of the people in reality. We don't know, but it's more than zero, and that's troubling. But hopefully it works. Unfortunate, and hopefully it starts working itself out.
You have to give Disney the benefit of the doubt because they have a track record of being extremely accommodating to people, going above and beyond what the minimum the law requires them. If you want to make that a threshold, and it's going to be a bumpy road until all the cast members, all the managers, all the ops people learn what they have to do and how to flex things in different directions. So I'd say it's a confusing time for the folks that are going just as this is being deployed.
Yeah, I think that's the part of the challenge too, is that it's for only people now or 30 days out. In some cases, it's beyond when they can cancel and stuff like that. So it's just creating a lot of uncertainty, and I feel for those people. And hopefully it does work itself out over time.
I know I keep talking. We're about halfway through the show. Yeah. We've got a big thing that we got to do. I just want to make this other point out. There are people that are on several different message boards that are super concerned that have canceled their trips well within the 30-day mark, and they've been fully, made whole. So Disney is not going to hold you to your feet to the fire to pay your $200 down payment or whatever. So they're being very good about that as well.
Okay. And I did want to use this as a transition because another article that Disney Tourist Blog put out recently that we had some chatter about in our Discord was about ranking the different resorts at Walt Disney World. And I thought we had some questions or some disagreements with how they did it.
Yes.
So I thought we could do it ourselves, and maybe a little bit more scientific because we all love our spreadsheets. So what I did was I created a spreadsheet, and we'll try to go through this as quickly as possible, but sort of give scores of 1 to 5 for theming, amenities, the pool, the vibe of the resort.
You did add the vibe category.
I did add the vibe.
You're fighting me against that.
Location, dining, the quality of the rules, and value. So a bunch of categories that we're going to give 1 to 5 for each resort. And we'll see which comes out.
Can you, and I should have asked this before the show, can you copy paste all your column heads in our show notes just so I can see what you're going to be asking me for each one so I can stick that in front of my brain? Now, obviously, I haven't stayed at a lot of these resorts, so I'm going to lump a lot of these together in kind of like a general sense. I will make note if I haven't stayed here actually or have not walked the property. So I this is more from me talking to others that I know that have gone and talking to people I know on the internet that have gone to kind of review some of the things or give you a reason why I chose not to book here because of the things I read or people I've talked to, that type of thing, which might give a rankings. Where are you putting this?
I'm trying to put it. Did it come through now? And to I put it in the wrong spot.
You can't just take a screenshot of it. Or I could just what I probably should have done just because you have a screenshot in Discord. I'm looking at it now, so you can stop now. I should have done this originally. But
I did paste them in, so hopefully that comes through now.
Yeah, you were good. We're good. Oh, it's actually new. Anyway, so we're fine. All right, so where are we starting at? Go ahead.
So, and we are starting with the All-Stars. There's movies, music, and sports. One thing I did too, so when we can consider value, is I looked up the price point for kind of a standard room at each resort. Kind of just picked a random day in August to kind of have a baseline to have when we're considering about kind of cost and stuff like that. So for the All-Star Movies, which is the resort that has music is the one, just so you know, has some family suites. Movies and sports do not. Sports is the one that often will have, cheerleading groups and stuff like that. So I'm kind of lumping them all together, but we would talk about them individually because they do have some differences. Just to give you an idea, All-Star Movies is going for $175 a night, music $191, and sports is $155, the lowest price point of any room. So have you stayed at any of the All-Stars?
I have not.
Okay. So I've stayed at music, and I've been to a couple of the others. So overall, I guess, 1 to 5 on theming. How would you consider these All-Stars, and would you rate them all the same or any of them different?
I'm going to group a lot of these together. The only standout that I have, because I've looked at it's All-Star Music that has the family suites in it, right? So I've looked at these before trying to find an economical solution to going for with 6 people and what those options are. But as far as we're going to start with theming Assuming the lower the number, the
Yes.
worse
So
the
1 is
score.
the lowest and 5 is the best. So
I have to give these just in context with all.
yeah,
the other
obviously it's
resorts.
everything's in context of other Disney resorts, not to the universe.
Yes. So I mean, I would give these all a 1 on theming.
Yeah.
Only because the reason why my wife wouldn't want to stay, I might consider them only because for me, I only kind of care about the bed I sleep in, and I'm going to spend all my time in the parks type of thing.
Mhm.
Which has obviously been changing if you've been listening to the show for the last 2 years. But I would give it all 1 because they look like just like kind of your regular old motel, hotel, brick or cinder block kind of construction type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely fun. They have the large scale things, which I know some families like and stuff like that. So, if you wanted to say movies or whatever, she get a 2 because it has a lot of Disney IP and stuff like that. I could go for that. But yeah, it's not going to be high on that.
No.
Amenities, there's not a lot. I mean, it has the ones that everything has, like the movies Under the Stars and things like that. But compared to basically all the other resorts, you're not getting many amenities. So I think these are all a 1 for that as well.
I agree. All standard quick service food court type of food. Nothing really stands out from any reviews that I've read over time.
Yep.
Other than, no, that's at a different resort. Never mind. Carry
Yep.
on.
The pool, they all are, again, kind of fun pools, but no slides, no anything like that. It's not like the big blue pool that you used to play the music under at Art of Animation or anything like that. They're kind of just regular pools. Obviously, they're fun, and we could get into the specifics, but they're probably, all 1s again compared to other ones, right?
They're accommodating for a large amount of people.
Yep.
I think.
Now, since I know you were the one who asked to have the vibe,
Yeah.
I don't know if you would, what vibe that these, obviously you mentioned they kind of make you feel like motels and stuff like that. But the one thing I do think about it, and some to do with the theming stuff, you do feel like you're at a Disney resort
Yes.
when you're at these.
Now, see, vibe, I mean, to me, I didn't know what to call this category, but this is like your wild card. Like, this is where you slot in, I'm nostalgic for this trip because I went here as a kid or something else like that. So the vibe is like, everybody hates this place, but I really love it because I had my 10th birthday party here, and it was like a wonderful experience, and it's near dear to my heart. So this is where you would give it a 5. So the vibe for all of these, I probably give which one? Music and sports against 1s because to me they just come off as like just crowded or just like, but movies I'll bump that up to a 2 just because personally I really like the aesthetic of some of the larger than life like things from movies in here, and where I think the music and the football stuff doesn't scream Disney theming to me, whereas the movie ones does.
As much for sure. And then location, I think this is all 1s because it's not near pretty much anything.
I mean, if you get stuck
bus.
at the wrong one on a bus route, you're in there for 5 hours.
Yeah. Rooms. Now, the one thing is I will say they've pretty much all been updated. I know music specifically has been updated and they're kind of more modern and stuff like that. So I don't know if we'd want to give them a slightly higher. Obviously, they're very basic when comparing to other rooms. Again, the music is the one that does have the family suites. So if we'd want to give that one a little bit more.
The majority of the hotels now have been renovated in some cycle within the last 5-ish years or so. So they all
some more than others. I mean, some have soft goods. Some are still kind of outdated with some of the things. Even at like something like Animal Kingdom Lodge is still really outdated when it comes to technology and stuff.
Right. I guess if in context of the rest, because these all have gotten room upgrades, right?
I believe so.
Recently.
Yeah.
So I think we have to give them all at 2, just because if you want to compare how many USB ports to plug in your Magic Band Plus is, like you could do that in these rooms.
Yeah, exactly.
Some other ones where we don't have this USB plugs.
Yep. And then value. I mean, their values. Like I said, the sports you can get at $155 with the discount. It's at $131 for a night. I mean, you're not finding things off property for that much cheaper.
Now, are we? Since this is your game and you're the scorekeeper, are we doing value strictly on like I'm spending this many dollars and I'm staying on Disney property, or I'm talking about I'm spending this many dollars and this is what I'm getting for the dollars on property?
The latter. Resort. It should be value. Like, is it worth what you're spending?
Yes, I will put the value
because otherwise, obviously, the values would all get 5s and like the deluxe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. So it's not just cost. No, it's saying like for what you have to pay to stay here. Do you think that's a good value or not?
I think I have to give the movies. I want to give the movies a 3 because of the family suites. Because I know this is a very distinct to me type of thing.
Music has the suites.
Music, excuse me. Yes, right. Yeah. Music. I'll give music the 3. The rest a 2.
Okay.
Because again, the value for having a economic solution for larger families. That's not 2 queens and like a pull down little bed that only somebody under the age of 10 kind of fits on those things. I think has something where and it's not super expensive either. It's probably the price of an expensive moderate room.
Yeah.
Right. So it's pretty good. The other ones, again, they're not terrible resorts. I mean, like if you just want to go and just crash the parks, like, and you don't care about waiting on a bus, it's great value. They're all under $200. Like you can't really, I was at it was a Hampton Inn in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and 0 amenities other than a clean room. And that was $198 a night.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, unless you're staying at some, get some great deal, or it's kind of not a place you really want to bring your family. You're not getting too much cheaper.
So I think there's definitely value. And this is for people that, again, probably, I mean, if this is all you can afford in your budget, then it's great value. But even if you could afford other moderates, like you're not stuck at a category or a price point, I recommend to people, like, look, if you don't care where you're staying and you're not going to go in a swimming pool, you just want to have access to the parks, but still be on Disney property, great value. And
also I think as you're kids are getting a little bit older and stuff like that, and you don't really fit in one room, and you don't want to do the DVC rental points or something
multiple
like that.
Rooms. Yep.
You can do 2 rooms here for the price of a moderate, or certainly less than a single deluxe room. So
excellent point.
Next one, and just so you know, I'm going in alphabetical order, so that's why. Animal Kingdom Lodge is the next one, and the other point I did want to make it, I'm not doing like DVC resorts. That was one thing with Tom Bricker's article, was he kind of lumped in DVC, but then didn't always have it and stuff like that. So I'm trying to say everything is just, these are dollars that you could go in and get the room here. So I'm just looking at Animal Kingdom Lodge as a hotel that you're going to, not necessarily like, Kidani Village versus Jambo House or anything like that. It's just, Animal Kingdom, you're renting a room there as a regular guest.
So just for the sake of time, I'm going to go straight across this. Yep. And then if you want, let's do this. Let's go quickly here. For Animal Kingdom Lodge theming, it has to be a 5.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I don't think you agree. I think you agree with me 100%.
Yep.
There's no better looking resort on property
absolutely
than Animal Kingdom Lodge. And the funny thing is, I don't think that's a hot take. I think almost everybody agrees with that. I think so. Which is hilarious that Disney doesn't boost that resort with better transportation. The amenities are fantastic. We're not lumping dining on here, but like it's got all the really cool, like the shops in there have like really cool like themed product. It's not just like they have it, but it's just not like here's where you go to get like ibuprofen, a bottle of wine, and a Diet Coke type of thing. It's there. It's all themed gorgeously. The cast is really great.
They have all the art. They do the tours,
the lobby and stuff.
Yeah, and you can take tours of the art. They have like tons of activities and stuff that are kind of unique to there. And then obviously, I mean, I guess this is part of theming and stuff like that, but you can go out and see animals.
I would give amenities a 4 because the pool's not the best pool on property.
Yeah, well, pool is separate. We have pool separate.
I see. I'm looking at your spreadsheet that you haven't broken up the pool yet. Okay, that's my fault. Okay, so I'll give amenities still a 4 on that one. Pool. I think I have to give the pool a context that it is a deluxe versus everything else a 3, because I don't think the pool's anything special.
No, I agree.
It's almost just like a concrete pool. Like I walked around it. It's nice. It's kind of like dead ended a little bit too. It's kind of a pain in the butt to kind of walk around. It doesn't have any particularly great views, even though if you go down a little bit, you can have a look at the savannah type of thing. But I don't think it's absolutely amazing.
Yep.
In my opinion. Do you agree? Disagree?
I agree. I mean, for a deluxe, you could almost say it was even a 2, but I think it does have like kind of the infinity edge and some nice features and stuff like that. So 2 or 3 in my mind.
Okay. If you want to average them out, are we doing halves?
No, let's just do individual
numbers.
Yeah.
Vibe, obviously, you can't go wrong with it. Vibe's a 5. It's like you can see animals and you wake up with your coffee on the balcony. The music is the best music on property.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like you don't feel like you're partying, but you feel like you're celebrating life when you're in that in that place. It's just really awesome. The vibe, you can't go wrong with that.
Yep.
On that one. I'm gonna just go fast. You speak up if you disagree, right? Or you want to throw in some location. In the context of it being deluxe, I think the location is you can say it might be a 1.
I was going to give it a 1 because it's far away. It only has buses and like kind of all the benefits of that with the animals and stuff we've factored in elsewhere. So to me, location, it's a 1.
Let me ask you this: if they built a Skyliner from Animal Kingdom Lodge to the park, what does that bump up for you?
At least 2 or 3 or something like that. I think that helps a lot.
2 whole points with a Skyliner.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious because I think about that sometimes. Dining, I think, has the best restaurants on property.
I think so.
Collection of them, so that's easy a 5 for me. Rooms, I really haven't. I've never been in one of these rooms. You have, but just by looking at them, the theming is nice, but it doesn't wow me at all. I'd probably put these at like maybe a 2 or a 3.
Yeah, I think a 2 is fine because they need to be updated. They have nice, big, chunky, heavy furniture. Like they seem like they fit the theme. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, which I don't know if I'm factoring into rooms or elsewhere, but some of the rooms take a year and a day to get to from the lobby.
Oh, right.
So,
yeah.
So I'm kind of dinging it a little bit for that too. And then value, just to give an idea, I looked up in the August date, a regular room was $485, but with the discount, $363 for this.
Can we give this a 6 for value? Because I think it gets cheap because of its location score, right? But like, you're not on a bus that long. It's a 20-minute bus ride or 20-minute bus ride to Hollywood Studios if you have to wait a little bit and you hit a red light somewhere. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's not Caribbean Beach Resort, which we'll get to in a little bit. But like the value, I would peg this above the meter if that was possible. So
okay,
5.
so I guess a 5.
Would you give this as a 4? Would you allow?
I would do either a 4 or a 5. I think it's still, while it's cheap for a deluxe, it's still not cheap. It's still expensive to do a whole week there, and it's not perfect. The rooms aren't. We dinged them on the rooms, we dinged them on the location, stuff like that. So I think 4 or 5. But you wanted it to be super high, so I'm fine with a 5.
I mean, like to me, if you want a taste of Disney Deluxe Resorts, this is. If you're already thinking I'm going to spend a boatload of money on my room, the value for this is like that's how.
I guess if you're comfortable spending that much on a room, this is a great way to spend it.
Right. I mean, like if you're like it might be a little expensive, $363 is really not that much when compared to rack rates of moderates, right? So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it because it's not a great value if you're expecting to spend. If you think $200 is too much for a value resort, then obviously the value of $500 a night is crazy to think about. But to me, if you're considering it, you already have a mindset that this is potentially in your budget.
Okay.
So
moving on. Art of Animation Resort, another value resort, obviously a little bit more. This came in at $230, $207 with the discount. Let's start with
crazy to me.
Yeah.
Theming. I want to give this. So I got to put this in context of Animal Kingdom Lodge, right? So I think the ceiling for a lot of these things is at least at most a 3, right? So we gave 1 to the All Stars. I think you have to give it. If we were going to give it halves, I would say it's probably a 2.5, but I won't give it a 3, so I'll give it a 2. I
think it's at least a 3. I think it's themed.
You can convince me of that because there's some parts that look awesome with a lot of the stuff that they have on property.
I mean, I think the theming is just really well. I know people. We've done it. We've taken trips there just to like walk around and stuff like that. I think it's 3.
I'm with you on that. I love some of those big statues. Like my kids love that. I should probably consider that.
Yeah.
They wowed when they saw those things on TV.
And the rooms are well themed and stuff like that versus like the All Star where they're kind of plain and stuff like that. Amenities, again, there's not a ton of amenities beyond. You have access to the Skyliner and stuff like that, and they have some character drawing things occasionally.
Are you going to put the Skyliner under amenities or
no?
Location?
That's part of location.
Okay, I've heard. I've never eaten here. I've heard it has a really good food court.
Yeah, so that'd be under dining. And it used to be much better than the others. I would say it's only slightly better.
So what are we considering amenities now? So
amenities are like the extra up, like we talked about at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Like it has the tours. Like say at Port Orleans, they have the carriage ride available. At Grand Floridian, they have the spa, like things like basically extras that you get by being at the resort.
I think amenities would be a 1 or 2 then, because there's really not much extra.
Yeah, there's not
in this
much.
place, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Somehow it's basically some way to give a category for resorts that have extras beyond, say, the All-Stars and stuff like
Fair
that.
enough.
Give them some credit.
Yep.
So the pool, I think they don't have the music underwater and stuff, but I still think it's elevated versus the All-Stars. It's not
a nice pool.
It's not. It doesn't have a water slide and it doesn't have stuff like that. But I think it's at least a 2.
See, like the floor is a 2. You can almost go to a 3 because it's big, it's nice, but it doesn't have a water slide. So I think you really heavily have to ding for it. So I think a 2 is fair.
Yeah.
Again, if we could go halves, I would go 2.5, but 2.
Okay.
2 is fine.
Overall vibe, I think this is where it does pretty well though, because it's different than Animal Kingdom, but I think just walking around kind of immerses you in Disney and kind of.
Yeah, I mean, there's some sections where like it's corny, I don't want to be there, and some sections like this is amazing. Like the Cars area is like super cool.
Yeah.
And I have to consider the mindset. So the person that's going here is not some elitist, snobbish, like I only stay at deluxe resorts type of person, right? I'm making fun of those of you out there. I love all of you. I think the vibe is pretty good. I mean, like I'm somewhere between a 3 and a 4. What are you thinking on vibe?
I was thinking just a 3.
Okay, because I like the people that are there. You're getting a much more elevated experience than the All-Stars. It's a really cool resort. People are having a good time, and I think the only thing that would detract from the vibe, it's just a massive resort, so there just might be sometimes a lot of people there, which kind of detracts from it.
I think so.
It's okay.
Location, obviously, it's on the Skyliner, which helps. You have to take a couple stops, and beyond that, it's not like you can walk to much of anything other than to Pop and stuff like that. So I think the location's certainly better than the All-Stars, but it's probably not a 5.
I think any Skyliner resort baseline location is a 3.
Yeah.
Easy.
So I think I would say this and Pop then probably are a 3, right?
I would definitely go with 3 just because you have to get off and get on again for other stuff. So I'm with you on 3.
Dining, it just has the food court. It's slightly better than the All-Stars and stuff like that. But
what did we give the All-Stars? 1s?
1s, yeah.
So we give this one a 2.
2, yeah. The rooms I think are fun and updated and stuff like that, but I also don't think they're anything amazing.
See, I could.
They do have the family suites here too,
right? I mean, I could almost give this a 4 on rooms because I would love to have those family suites, but not just at Art of Animation,
right?
But maybe at a smaller type of resort. So I would almost say a 4 because the rooms do look really fun to be in. Nice colors. They're new. They look sharp.
Yeah, they're just like not as big as some, the moderates and stuff like that. So
I mean, you could argue me down to a 3, but I initially started at a 4.
I was thinking 3, just knowing where we have to get other rooms, like fit other rooms.
That's true. Okay, we'll go 3. Go 3.
And then for value, obviously it's still relatively cheap, but it's more than Pop and the All-Stars.
What did we give the All-Stars?
So we gave the music, which had the family suites, we gave that a 3, and the other one's a 2.
So I have to stick with a 3 on this because I don't think we can do a 4 on value. No, I think we might. In my case, okay. So if I gave music a 3 because of price, Art of Animation is still relatively inexpensive. Your chart has it only $40, $45 more expensive.
Yeah.
You get an elevated resort, you get a better pool, you're on the Skyliner. I think you have to go 4 on this, in my opinion. All right, because I gave music a 3.
Well, I guess the only argument I would say, what would you give Pop then, which is also on the Skyliner and is cheaper?
I would say, well, how much cheaper?
It's like
what do we have there?
$30 cheaper. It's only $10.
You're not giving me much room to operate on this here with your 1 to 5. I'd probably give them. I mean, if you want to go back there, I would say I would give them both the same because they're both buses everywhere except for, they have Skyliner and they both have cost. They're down. But see, where Pop is cheaper, they don't have the family suite.
They don't have the family suite.
So I think that equalizes them both, in my opinion.
Okay, so you want to do 4 for both?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can skip ahead.
Now we're up to Beach Club, which I couldn't find a discount for. So a one-night stay in there was $586. Obviously, this is, themed to a New England beach club. And obviously we'll get to the pool that has an amazing pool and stuff like that, and some nice amenities and that sort of thing. So have you stayed here, been here?
I've only flown over it on the Skyliner.
Okay.
Right? I know a lot of people that have been there. So let's just do this super fast because we're getting long here, right? So how about I do this? We'll go back and forth. I will rapid fire down. You stop me if you disagree, and then the next one you rapid fire down. Do it that way?
Okay.
Across all categories, unless there's something you want to add, right?
Okay.
Or disagree with. Theming, I think the theming on here is kind of poor. It's a 3. It's kind of boring. You could even argue me down to a 2 on that one. Amenities, I don't know of any particular amenities on the beach club, other than it's a.
You have the beach club. I mean, you have the So, it's really just whatever all the deluxes have. There's some, I think there's some water elements and like you can boat rentals and stuff like that.
Right.
Like you can have it all those, but it's nothing super unique.
I think baseline amenities is a 3 for all deluxes for the most part.
Probably,
something pops up, right? The pool is easily a 5. It's the best pool on property. If you don't know about this pool, go watch the million YouTube videos that are out there showcasing it. It's well worth your time. If you haven't seen it, go find a host that you really like and enjoy the video. The vibe, I think I could give the vibe. It's weird. The vibe could be a 3 because it's all kind of quiet and dour, but it could also be a 4 if you're there when you have a lot of families that are down there also and stuff like that. So I where would you put the vibe on here? I think it's a 3 or a 4.
I was going to go 4 because you have access to the boardwalk, the pool. You can walk over to Epcot. I mean, I know that's location, but the fact that you're so close, you can see fireworks and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Fireworks.
Like to kind of just being in that crescent. I think there's a vibe to that Crescent Lake area.
Definitely bump that up. I didn't consider that. Location is easily a 5 for me. You're right by Epcot.
Yeah, you can walk to Epcot. Awesome.
So, dining. I've heard good things and bad things about the dining, but I've heard more about the dining here pre-COVID. I don't know if it's really improved.
There's not a ton. I mean, obviously, there's Beaches and Cream is popular, and it's got their quick service. I don't think it's really known for the dining or anything like that. And a number of the deluxes probably could be better.
I think
dining.
I think deluxe baseline dining score has to be a 3 just because it has sit down restaurants included, right? Versus like the others that don't have any.
And it has a really, Hurricane Hannah's is a really good bar and stuff like that. So it has some like things going for it, but I think it's kind of like baseline for deluxe.
Rooms, I don't know much about these rooms. I have to give them a 3 because they don't really stand out to me as far as
they're well themed. They're like kind of.
Yeah, the theme is lame though.
Yeah, I mean,
they do a good job for the theme.
Yeah,
like, for me personally, the theme's great. Whatever.
Yeah, I think 3 is fine.
Value to this, I think these are overpriced as all deluxes because I don't think there's any value in any deluxes. So I would say 2 on this.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right, you rapid fire the next one.
So Boardwalk Inn, I think theming. I would go a 4 just because you have the boardwalk and it fits
awesome.
in there.
Absolutely.
Like it kind of fits in the theming amenities. Other than having the boardwalk, there's nothing more beyond the basic deluxe.
If we scored Animal Kingdom Lodge a 5, I don't think this matches that because the inside portions aren't the same, but the outside boardwalk part, like you said, awesome.
Yeah. The pool is okay. It has a fun slide, but it's kind of also kind of creepy and stuff like that. For a deluxe, I don't think it's that much better than Animal Kingdom Lodges, so I'll give it a 3.
I agree.
The vibe, I guess I'd do a 4, the same as for the whole area.
Yep, I'm with you.
Location, again, 5.
Now, if you were going halves, I would put this a half step above Beach Club, I think, because the boardwalk's got a better vibe than the Beach Club.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go down 3.5 to the Beach Club and a 4 for the boardwalk.
But we're not doing half.
We're not doing that. We're just going to... Dining, you obviously have access to all this stuff on the boardwalk, but there also isn't like a great quick service and stuff like that. So probably just a 3 still. The rooms, I know they've been updated and people like them more. The last time we stayed was before they were updated and I didn't like them at all. So I don't think they're anything special. I'm going to give it a 3.
Yep.
And value, same thing, a 2.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So the next one is Caribbean Beach Resort. This one's going to be a little biased because this is like, if there could be a home resort for moderate people, this would be it. Even though I'm going to attempt to not go to this resort next time just to do something different. Theming for Caribbean Beach, to me, like knowing that we just gave the boardwalk a 4, Animal Kingdom Lodge a 5. I would like to give Caribbean Beach a 4, but I can't because it just doesn't hold a candle to a lot of the other ones. So it's a 3. It looks really nice. It's not anything fancy or special, but it does look like a Caribbean area, right? So I'm going to give that a 3. The amenities to me, there's nothing there, right? I mean, it's just standard stuff. So baseline 2 versus a deluxe baseline 3. If you want to, you want to argue,
I think that's
that.
fine.
The pool's really nice for a moderate. I wouldn't stack this up to something like Coronado Springs pool because it has the cool Aztec kind of like pyramid. So the pool here, I would probably a 2 or a 3.
I think it's at least a 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, what did we give Art of Animation for their pool?
2. I think it's better than that.
I want to step up because it's got a slide.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted, a +1 Art of Animation. The vibe here, there's really no vibe. There's really not much going on. So I give the vibe here like you know what? For the Banana Cabana, I have to give the vibe at least a 3.
I would say that whole central area has a good vibe to it, and then you also have the vibe with like the Skyliner going by and stuff like that. So I think it's a little bit more than.
Oh, we're going to include that because you know what?
Well,
because here's the thing. Because I agree with you. Because like about a month ago, I was looking through some of our movies, and you just hear the Skyliner like sound, like boop, 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 and like the announcements. I'm like, that's Disney World to me, and I now associate that with Caribbean Beach. So I mean, okay. So if we're gonna combine all that type of deal.
Well, I think that's part of how you feel while you're walking around and while you're standing there, right?
No. Yeah, I agree with you. You're just reminding me of things what I should add to my original thought. So maybe a 4 then. If we're vibing, but it's definitely a 1 when it's cold and rainy, like my last time we were riding. Location. The location of this is a 5. It's a 5 spot. Like if assuming you can be smart and you listen to me when I tell you to do this, it is worth the $15 on touringplan.com to do the room reservation request, because you either need to stay at Jamaica or stay in Aruba. Anywhere else, the location goes down. Like it's a 4, but I think the location's a 5. If you could just walk across the road and hit the hub of the Skyliner, it'd be one Skyliner ride for Hollywood Studios, one Skyliner ride away from Epcot.
Yeah, I would say overall though, I would give it a 4 because there's still like you can't see fireworks from anywhere from there, and so like just when we're thinking about other options,
I would elevate others to a 5 because of fireworks off of that. I mean, if you want to give it a 4, I'm down with that. That's fine. Because you can't really see anything else. I'm just high on the Skyliner.
No, I understand
the Skyliner. So if you want to give it a 4, I like that. That's fair.
Okay.
Dining. There's nothing. Whatchamacallit, the one.
Well, it has Sebastian's, and
Sebastian's is good. I had that for the first time last time. I thought that had a good value of a meal, but like again. It didn't blow my socks off either.
And then Banana Cabana and Spyglass Grill, and
I've never been to Spyglass Grill. I mean, it's all good food, but it's not. I'm not raving about it. I need to be a step away from Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying it's a 5 or anything, but it's at least a 3.
But like, if I can't give it a 4 because that would make it close to Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's like we need separation from that 5.
Right.
So I think it's a
3.
Because Banana Cabana could hold that whole restaurant. Like it had no other food but that bar, it would still be a 3.
Yeah.
I think it's good. The rooms just got updated. I know the room that I went, you're actually able to put your luggage underneath your bed, which was nice. So the rooms for a moderate, I want to say 4 only because it had an abundance of USB things. It's clean. It's new. But again, nothing really stood out there as far as theming, so that probably drags it.
I think it's a 3. A 3 is fair,
yeah. Value for us, if you can get a good call, like sometimes these Caribbean Beach gets expensive for a moderate, but then sometimes it gets stupid cheap for a moderate too. I don't get it. If you could get this on the low side, whereas what did you have?
So I have it as $319, $255 on this guy.
That is
like $255. I think is a good value.
That's a 5 to me because you have. Tying the Skyliner and everything else, definitely a 5. If this gets into the mid to high 3s without a discount, it starts going down.
Then you might as well look at Pop and stuff.
Yeah. All right. So what's the next one?
Contemporary Resort. Obviously, Deluxe near Magic Kingdom. The standard room was $612 with a discount of $459. Theming. I actually don't think the theming here is great. Obviously it's the nostalgia and you have the view of the Magic Kingdom, but if you take that away, it's and obviously you have the Mary Blair mural.
I was just going to say that's the only thing that's not going to me.
And you have the monorail going through it and stuff like that. So there's some like benefit to that, but I don't think it's overall great. I was going to give it a 2.
Yeah, I was going to say 2.
Okay. Amenities, obviously you have all the watercraft, you have access to all the boats, you have all the other regular deluxe things. It's still not, there's no spa or anything like that. There's the convention center and stuff like that. So I was going to say a 3.
Yep. My sister was just on a boat watching fireworks.
Yeah. So I think there's some pluses there. The pool, I don't think is very good at all. The one over at Bay Lake Tower is a little bit better, but when we stayed there, the pool's like, I think it's like for a deluxe, it's not great.
It's got to be low.
Give it a 2.
Yep.
Because it does have a slide and stuff like that. The overall vibe, I think it feels very Disney when you're there, and just the nostalgia and stuff about it. It's like got that hustle and bustle. The monorail going through and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think it's a 5 like Animal Kingdom Lodge, but I could give it a 3 or 4.
I want to give it a 4 because of a weird reason, right? So obviously you got the monorail. That's a vibe, right? If it didn't have if it did not have a monorail, it would be an ugly resort, right?
I think if it didn't have the monorail, it probably would have been demolished by now.
Exactly. I always get this feeling. So the only times I've been. The times that I've been there, I've always walked from the Magic Kingdom and I don't think I've ever gone to it and got there through a monorail. We always left with the monorail.
Okay.
And walking through the main entrance up into the lobby and stuff like that, it really felt like a hotel out of like the 70s almost.
Yeah. Well, it was built in.
Right, but like it hasn't changed. It feels like I'm still there doing that, right?
It has that retro vibe, and I think they keep that and stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that vibe, that adds to it. So 4 for sure on this one.
Location, I mean, I think it's got to be a 5. You can walk to Magic Kingdom and see the fireworks. Dining, I think between California Grill and Steakhouse 71, the Outer Rim is a good bar. It doesn't have the best quick service though, so maybe it's probably not as good as Animal Kingdom. So 4.
I was going to say 4. Yeah, only because all the sit downs aren't phenomenal like Animal Kingdom Lodge does, and it doesn't have a good breakfast buffet like.
I mean, it has Chef Mickey's, but
no, I'm not giving that points for Chef Mickey's. But Steakhouse 71 is like an amazing addition. I love that restaurant.
The rooms, they're large, which is nice, and obviously you have some that overlook Magic Kingdom and stuff. I think it gets some benefit to that. It has the Incredibles theming now, which is some people like, some people don't.
I give them credit for that. I never got the heat for that theming. I liked it.
I think they're good rooms, but I'm not amazing. So 3 or 4, I don't know, for a deluxe.
I think you have to give them 4 because you can see Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, that's true. Rooms, I guess that'll round it up. Yeah. Or even just looking out at Bay Lake and stuff like that for sure. Mm-hmm. And value.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like you either see the theme park or you can see like the electrical parade at night type of thing.
So value, I think this is where it gets dinged a lot.
Yes, it does.
Because even like these standard rooms, a lot of those are probably out in the garden wing or something. And if you want that, we gave them credit for the rooms
all the way up,
for being a theme park. So I'm giving it a 2 or a 1. I don't know.
I want to give it a 1 because I like being mean to the contemporary for no particular reason whatsoever. Okay. But yeah, I could never stay there unless I got a super deal or somebody bought it for me.
Yeah. So random thought before we go on, because we're not even halfway done. Do we want to do part 2 next week?
I was just going to say, like, we're like 1/3 of the way through. Let's do part 2 next week.
Let us know what you're thinking about this process, and
like,
if you have any things that we could do faster, or things that we should consider that maybe we're not. How we could do this. I think it's really fun to talk about them. I could do this all night.
Yeah.
But you probably would. I don't know if people want to listen to an hour and a half of straight of just this. So.
And this will give, because we're not going to be like the podcast that just says, okay, have a good night, and then start up. And this is just, we just keep recording and just split it into 2. We're actually going to take a week before we record the rest of this. So hop on Discord, talk to us about it. If the ways we're putting things in context don't match, because we're attempting to do that. Yeah. Let us know and see how crazy dumb we are for talking these things. I just want to actually put out there that I finished. If you were in Discord, you saw a picture. I actually finished my Disney wall today. I'm very proud of myself. All the pictures were from our 2015, 17, and 19 trips that were up in our old house that we then sold, and we moved to Maryland and we put up on a wall, but the wall was like basically half full. And I don't know if I like the placement of some of these things that I put up there, but it's a 19-foot ceiling, so I wasn't really, I was enjoying myself when I was putting up some of these higher pictures. But now my whole wall is now complete, and I'm very happy. We've added pictures from our 2021 trip, the 22 trips, and the 23 trip. So we are now complete, and now we were looking for other walls to put all of our bandness on as the trips go on. Now here's the thing. I've been putting my pictures, Phil. Now I have to figure out, do I now go and get pictures every single trip, or do I let another 3 or 4 years worth of trips accumulate and then just do one massive project? We'll see how lazy I am by the time we get back from our next one.
No, but the wall does look great. I mean, just the quantity of photos and stuff like that. It's definitely like we're talking about vibe with all the resorts. Yeah. I think it gives a good vibe when you're. It's
a good gallery. It reminds me of, and I've never been there, but like pictures of like the Adventures Club, where it's just a wall of stuff. I really like that vibe. Now I have another wall. I'm thinking, this is the wall that Star TV is on. Do we put more pictures on there? Ultimately, the answer is probably going to be yes, just because it's going to look awesome. But,
and you got to put new photos somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to cost. I think that wall is going to cost me probably around $30,000 just for the Disney trips that I have to go on to get the pictures from. So I'm not looking forward to that part, but at least it's spread out over the years. So that being said, make sure you hop on Discord and join the conversation. Thank you for watching and listening, everybody. And I hope you guys had a good Memorial Day weekend, because you're listening to this. It's already over, and we're already back to work already. So again, until next time, guys, take care.
Take care, everyone.